Hi, I'm Grandmaster Doug Steele of KMMA, and today I want to talk about a message, a lesson that's going to be especially useful for my friends who are small business owners or you lead any kind of business team. But really, it's probably useful for anyone that leads any team, and that's probably true of most of you. So, today I want to talk about kind of the union of two important black belt leadership principles that we teach at KMMA and how the union is so important to our effectiveness, efficiency of ourselves, but especially of our teams. And not only will it add to the effectiveness and efficiency of your team, but honestly, it will add to the job satisfaction, the overall wellness of your team. And the first one was actually, Dr. Stephen Covey is the one that actually created this concept many years ago. I read it in the Seven Habits of Highly Effective People decades ago, and but it's become an important part of the way that we teach and that we develop our black belt leaders here at KMMA, and it's totally relevant, obviously, to the development of your teams. And that is that there is this maturity continuum. There's this maturity process that we go through, and that it starts with dependence. The new team member, the new student, the new child, is dependent upon us for almost everything at the beginning, for guidance, for training, for even knowing what to do, their key result areas. They're dependent. And of course, our first objective is to grow them to independence, where the person can independently perform their job without needing as much handholding. Of course, does not mean that we abdicate responsibility. We are still delegating and coaching and leading, but the person, the leader, can actually lead relatively independently. And then, of course, the third and coveted one, the one that we really want to develop, is interdependence. Interdependence between our teams. Now, the second black belt leadership principle that I want to talk about today is one that I especially teach in my certified instructor training program because it's so important when we're raising up children, but really raising up anybody. And I call it the cycle of success. And here's what the cycle of success says. The cycle of success says that there are three places we can interject our students, our kids, our team, and that is feedback, effort, and results. And traditionally speaking, the results kind of kick off the cycle. By the way, thanks to Grandmaster Greg Silva, who I first learned this concept from in an instructor course, again, decades ago. That's the traditional way, but one of the most empowering ways is actually to interject with feedback. Because when we can create positive feedback right away, it actually motivates and inspires more effort. And of course, we know that more effort creates more positive results. And positive results creates more positive feedback. And the truth of the story is that it's kind of neat because the instructor in the know, the business leader in the know, starts this process. But as the employee or student starts actually performing well, now everybody is interjecting with the positive reinforcement, and the cycle of success works. Now, the other part of the cycle of success is that unfortunately it works the other way as well, right? We can get in a negative cycle, sometimes perhaps called a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the words that we're hearing from someone else or even from ourselves are disempowering, and therefore we don't believe in ourselves, and therefore we don't give effort, and therefore we don't produce results, and we actually create the opposite of the cycle of success, a disempowering cycle. Now, neither of those concepts is new. I've taught it to all my black belt leaders and all my sensei, and now that I've started the corporate coaching program, I'm sharing it with business leaders as well. And that's not new, but here's the revelation that I recently had in working with my own team. And that is this, that the interdependence that Dr. Covey speaks of and the empowering or disempowering cycles of success, there's a union of these things. In other words, because we're an interdependent team, We're not even only affected positively or negatively by our own success or failure, by our own results, but also by those closest to us on our team, by the others that we depend on. So what does that mean? Why is that relevant? Well, for those of us that are the coaches of the team, and whether it's a small team, like my head instructor, my program director in my academy, or my program director and my head instructor in my other academy, or it's a larger team. But teams are groups of people working together, and here's the point: if they're interdependent for the result, then it is also true that when one is in a negative cycle, they can negatively affect the other, and vice versa. And for us as coaches, that's critically important to understand, so that regardless of the number of variables, the number of people on our team, that what we're doing is trying to keep everybody spinning in a positive direction while producing our results. It's like so many great principles in life. I can tell you it's simple, not easy, but I can also tell you that it can be done, and there is something great and liberating about having a great team. Prepare to live, empower to lead. I'm Grandmaster Stephen Del Castillo of KMMA.